the day it just like I don't even know how to. I don't even know. Like I fucking come back after. It's not like I wasn't fucking calling. I called his ass numerous times. Texted him numerous times.
It's just that the one day when you come back and start harping about it, that's when he starts getting in touch.
Yep. Well, I didn't even bring it up. The moment the moment we were gonna bring this to fucking trial is like, you know, he starts blowing up my cell phone.
It's he'd had enough warnings prior to that, so whatever.
Here we go, boys. Honestly, I think it could really go either way. But I think it's heavily leaning on our end. And I have zero sympathy over this because he tried to scam us.
Are we ready to get
effectively.
started?
Yep, already over here, Your Honor.
Yep, we're ready.
Yep, we're ready as well, Your Honor.
All right, I apologize if I sound half dead, but I'd rather be in bed right now. When it comes to scheduling these cases, it isn't necessarily what time I need to do it or want to do it. You know, I have to make it work for everyone. So, you know, I'm half asleep. So I apologize for the dead voice. Luckily, they did decide to put pictures of members of the DOJ around the courthouse and around the city hall to appreciate us for doing what. Oh, wait, they didn't do that. Never mind. All right, let's get into this. All right, so let me get this straight. With this court case, this isn't necessarily going to be one about bringing up witnesses and stuff like that. This is going to be debates over the claims inside of a contract. Is that right?
We're happy to bring up witnesses just to confirm the details within the contract itself, but I'm happy to also just speak with the defendant's counsel regarding the contract itself if needs be.
Okay, why would I need a witness to tell me what's in the contract that I can read?
True.
I would like to bring up Lenny as a witness at one point, just to discuss conversations he has had with the opposing counsel.
I mean, we can do that, but before we get started, is anyone here disputing that the contract was signed by both parties?
Nope.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so whatever conversation that they had before or after is completely irrelevant. Because once they put that signature on top on that contract, it doesn't matter what conversation they had. You read the contract, you sign the contract.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh man.
Okay, we're gonna get started on this. I'm gonna give the prosecution time to explain what's in this contract, parts of this contract that they want to point out, and why they think that their client deserves the money of the loan inside this contract. So the floor is yours.
Okay, doc.
Go.
Oh, sorry, one moment.
Remember, it's the vehicle, not just the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me read it.
So, Your Honor, today the reason that we come here is to discuss the contract and the finer details that within the contract itself that was entered between both the plaintiff, Nino Chavez, and the defendant, Lenny Lodge. More basically within the contract itself, a payment plan was set out for 4 installment payments, starting from, I believe, the 28th of April to the 19th of May, 2021. I believe cited within Section 2, the purpose of the loan was for the immediate purchase of a benefactor Schwarzer VIN 3PMSP98NP1F050655. This was the second iteration of the contract. Both one contract was given to him prior for the loan installment, and a second one to further confirm that the VIN number that was listed was for the what we put down as established as collateral for the total loan amount. If in case failure to pay or failure to reach the kind of terms of the contract happened. Again, cited within Section 8, it states that as collateral for repayment of the loan amount, the borrower agrees to put forth the vehicle, and then the VIN number, which I cited before, which lists to the benefactor Schwarzer that is in Lenny Lodge's possession. It was basically told to Lenny on multiple iterations of the contract that were drafted before and after the purchase of the vehicle that this was to maintain full security and retrieval if a dispute were to occur between parties. And even his own clarification on the docket showed his misinterpretation of what the term collateral actually meant. The defendant, Lenny Lodge, had multiple infractions, which more often than not, if one infraction occurred, we would increase the rate of payment unless he was to find himself kind of current with the loan agreement. That was highlighted within Section 6 of the contract, and these negative
okay,
impact.
whenever you say increase the payment, is that like within an interest rate?
Yeah, so there's a
Is that
bracket.
interest rate stated within the contract?
Yes, that's
And what's
cited
that?
within there as well. Let me just pull it up. Kidoki, so there's interest brackets of the original first infraction, second, and third. It starts with the original 20% interest, 25, 30, and 35 after each infraction. So first, second, and third infraction.
Jesus Christ, that interest rate. Okay.
Yeah. If he has failed to meet 2 payments in a row, and then a grace period of 7 calendar days is then given towards the borrower so that he may find himself at least current with the payments and then move forward from there. The first installment was failed to be met on the 28th of April, where Lenny did not put forward any money whatsoever. An agreement was made so that he could put forward a secondary payment, and he, on the, I believe, 5th of May, put forward both the first and second payment at the same time. However, the third installment, which was scheduled for the 12th of May, and the fourth installment on the 19th of May, Mr. Lenny Lodge failed to meet either of those. We gave 7-day grace period of 7 continuous calendar days. He failed to meet that. He actually, from the third date payment that was put forward, he waited 46 days, and 7 days after we started to seek collateral and recuperation of the car itself to actually attempt to make any payment whatsoever. We attempted throughout to kind of allow for an alternative plan. Texts, the plaintiff himself even requested that I have face-to-face conversations with the defendant, to which no kind of change was made whatsoever. At this point, we're just looking to seek recuperation of the vehicle in its entirety and have the vehicle given to the plaintiff, as he has been in clear breach of both the 2 infractions of not meeting payment and has not given payment within that 7-day calendar period that we were allowing to him. It states it all pretty much within Section 7 and Section 8 that the vehicle is listed as full collateral, not to be in junior of interest or anything else, and that is our primary concern in retrieval of the vehicle.
Okay. When did the what date did these payments start on?
The first scheduled date should have been the 28th of April. However, his first payment date was the 5th of May, where he made both the first and second on that date.
Okay. let me go to the defense side. What's your argument of the contract? Do you have the money readily available to pay out this contract? What's the status on this?
So when Lenny was made aware that this had gone up on the docket, he actually instantly paid out the amount that Mr. Schultz had posted that Lenny owed of the $89,900. He actually gave them an extra $100 just to give it a nice round 90,000. So at the moment, Lenny believes once it went up on the docket, he has actually paid off the full balance.
Okay, back to the prosecution.
So, basically, within the 46 days between the third payment and the actual payment that he'd made, we attempted to kind of retrieve payment throughout all of that. The reason why we had, and I know it's hearsay, the reason why we ended up posting it on the docket was we had heard that rather than paying off the loan itself due to the plaintiff taking time out of the city, but still being in contact with Lenny consistently, Lenny was spending money on the car itself or other means, so we just decided to push forwards with retrieval of the car.
According to the contract, the vehicle is already ours, at that point.
And basically, the contract itself was a rent-to-own kind of agreement in itself, so at that point, we still continued to own the vehicle until he had made full payment. It was, I think, 6 days after the actual docket itself had been posted. Actually, sorry, 7 days after it had been posted on the docket, 6 days after you had presided as the judge for the case itself. So it was still a whole 7-day grace period even after that. So we continued to just try and seek retrieval of the vehicle. We would more so, because of the clear breach and the lack of return of funds, refund the money that was brought over by Lenny and seek recuperation of the vehicle itself.
So let me get this straight. Has the complete loan been paid off?
I believe so at current. However, it was, I believe, 46 days, more than a month after the agreement.
So a collateral is there to make sure that you get that money, right? So whenever you go to court over something that's collateral and you haven't got that money, that's whenever you receive that collateral as a surcharge or whatever or not a surcharge, but a recuperation for not receiving that money. But you have the money, correct?
We do have the money, but
I
according
did
to the
submit evidence
contract,
showing
the
Lenny's bank
vehicle would have
transfers of the
defaulted
final
to
amount
us
to
weeks in
Mr.
advance of
Chavez.
it coming up to the docket.
That'd be defenses B, Your Honor.
So yes, we do have the money in its entirety. However, due to the default terms, the vehicle would have been returned to us as default way in advance to that. The only reason that the vehicle is now paid in full is because of us pressing litigious actions for recuperation of the collateral itself.
Yeah, that's
via kind of a
that's how
rent-to-own
that
agreement.
works, right? You have the collateral and they haven't paid you any money, so you hold that collateral over their head, like, look, we're about to take it, and then they pay you the money, or they don't pay you the money and they lose the collateral.
That's not how the contract is written.
If you could review the contract itself, Your Honor, it's less so a collateral via the means of and when we get the amount in full, it is written as if it is a rent to purchase. So the vehicle is listed as kind of ownership under us, technically, until the amount is paid in full, kind of like a balloon payment in itself.
Okay, was the vehicle ever in y'all's name?
No, however, we had given the money immediately to him for the purchase of.
Okay. So whenever the vehicle's in your name, that means the title's in your name.
Read
you
section 8
could
for us.
say in a contract that the vehicle's quote unquote rent to own, but whoever's name that title belongs to is who that vehicle belongs to. That's how that works.
Okay, so
Okay.
The reason why we're doing this is because it's after the 7 calendar days, it's put forwards as the immediate release. It literally says after 7 continuous calendar days, lender may demand release of the collateral, and then we have put terms as to how the vehicle is to more than likely only be passed over to us unless we have in writing given it to someone else or anything like that. We've even put terms as to keeping the material in good use. And we even state it will constitute at all times a valid and perfect first security interest vested in the security party and will not become junior to the security interest, liens, or claims of any other creditor. So the vehicle, in all kind of means, is to us.
Has
Yeah.
to read
Okay.
Section 8. I think it's worth doing.
Has the interest been paid off on this? On the late payment?
So
Sorry,
go ahead, Gil. Okay, Gil had posted an entire loan breakdown of the entire remaining balance to be paid for the loan, including any interest and any infractions Lenny had incurred, sorry, and Lenny has paid back more than that amount.
I think we need to. The thing is,
However,
we need to
the only reason
explain.
how
We need to
then
explain
sought
how
to
our
seek
collateral is
recuperation of
written.
the vehicle is because he had been in clear violation meeting the new terms within Section 8. And if you skim through the entirety of Section 8, the reason why we are seeking the vehicle is because he failed to meet the actual infraction costs of a new interest rate and had now met the terms of immediate release of the vehicle.
Okay. Well, what I'm asking is with the new interest rate kicking in, has he paid all the money that he owes you guys?
Wait, he owes us the vehicle according to the contract.
According to the contract itself, he would owe us the vehicle. Still, technically, even with the increased interest rate, no, he has not met the full amount because he is at the second infraction interest rate amount. However, according to the contract, he would owe us the vehicle itself over the interest.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that contract.
If there is an outstanding balance of anything from the interest rate that was miscalculated, I'm sure Lenny would be willing to, settle that as well.
Completely.
The thing is, the interest is based off of the collateral terms that are within the contract. So upon interest not being met as like an alternative payment plan, the interest is only a primary kind of dispute resolution rather than immediate demand of release.
Mm.
Well, what I'm curious about is I get that the here's
If I may, Your
here's-
Honor, I can probably explain
well, yeah,
why
I
the
get that,
contract
but
is written this way.
We don't have in the city. We don't have laws to cover malicious contracts in the city like they do outside of the city. I know outside the city this contract can be borderline illegal, but yeah, go ahead and indulge me.
Absolutely. As you know, Your Honor, starting up a loan business is very difficult. Acquiring state funds is next to impossible. When Lenny and I originally spoke, he was down bad. And what I mean by down bad is there was not, no one was willing to assist him in acquiring a vehicle he very desperately wanted. Now, he was begging me for this loan. And I told myself, listen, this guy wants the vehicle. I'm going to give this guy an opportunity. Now, I did hear you mention at first that these interest rates sound very high. And relative to the rest of the city, when you compare it to fast loans or some of the other, the government-run loan.
Yeah, those are too high too.
They're very high. They're very high. So what I said is, listen, Lenny, I'm going to try to give you a very reasonable contract. However, for it to be worthwhile for me, because $150,000 is a ton of money, right? I'm going to give it to you at 20%. And can you promise me you can give this back to me in 4 weeks? And he said, absolutely, I can give this, not an issue. And I said, I'm going to make it a very small increasing interest rate, from 20 to 25 to 30 to 35, right? The loan companies, they don't even give you that many outs. I gave him 4 outs. Each out giving him another 7 days to be able to fulfill that increased 5%, which, based on which is like one extra fishing trip. You know what I mean? However, for it to be worthwhile giving that much money, I needed to know that if he didn't meet the payments on time, which means that money that I've given him from my own account ends up getting tied up for an indefinite period of time until we bring it to court, that vehicle needs to be on collateral. And we made sure that Section 8 of the collateral section very clearly states that if he is unable to meet the payment after that last infraction is made. 7 days will be given, after which the vehicle would be forfeited to myself. Now,
Well, the vehicle would have to go to the courts, and the courts would decide if it's forfeited to yourself. It wouldn't just happen by default.
well, yes, of course, but it is an agreement that he made and signed in here, and it is very clearly noted in Section 8 that upon default of any of these payments as defined by Section 7, etc., the vehicle will be forfeited. And once again, the reason for that is the money gets tied up. It could take weeks for a case, and I understand why. But it also really pushes the lender to pay back their loans. Otherwise, in this particular scenario, it was a clear abuse that had transpired. Obviously, it's hearsay as to what transpired over those close to 2 months. But, I mean, we're talking about 2 months here where the guy just didn't even pay a single dime until we decided to bring it to court. And to me, that just looks like a cop-out.
Yeah, I'm going through it. I'm reading this contract, and you know what this kind of reminds me of? It's a service I'm not very fond of, but it reminds me of a title loan.
He's not wrong.
Okay. Is there anything the defense supposed to add in?
Yes, Your Honor. So as Nino just said, he thought he was doing Mr. Lenny a service while he was apparently down bad, while offering him what I believe to be a predatory contract, and you yourself said it sounds borderline illegal, at least out of the city.
Well, it sounds it. I haven't read it, but it sounds it.
Yeah. And we believe they started, once Mr. Lenny Larger had paid off the title, they then heard that he has upgraded the car and it's worth now well above the original title value of the loan. We believe it to be somewhere in the $400,000 to $500,000 range, which is why they're now seeking so hard to recuperate the car rather than the initial sum of the loan.
Well, to rebut that, aside from that being hearsay, that is not the reason. And I'm very open to explain why I decided to go down this route, but I leave that up to Lenny.
Could Lenny say a couple of...
Sorry, could I just quickly interject one thing as well? Regarding, and I understand that without reading the contract, it may look malicious to some extent, and you are right in the fact that also you do not agree.
That's the thing. I'm letting you guys give both your side of the story.
Oh, no,
okay?
No, I understand.
And then when I go into back to deliberate on this, I'm going to read this contract in full, okay?
No, absolutely. But you are correct in the fact that it is very similar to a outside of the city title loan. The actual loan itself and the majority of the collateral part of the loan is actually so written based off of a contract that I wrote for this state in regards to retrieval of a collateral of a vehicle for money owed to the state. So it is actually based off of terms that the state have already used for their own contract themselves. So it's already been granted. If you look on the docket for the case of Taco Prince and the lien that was owed on his agreement, it uses the same terms of collateral within that.
One other thing I want to add here is
I think the defense want to chime in, then I'll come back to you. What was
absolutely.
that?
No, I kind of wanted to. Oh yeah, Lenny, you go ahead. You were trying to speak.
So yes, a lot of obviously it's hearsay again. What Nino said that we spoke about previously on our first conversation, most of that was not actually expressed to Lenny. Lenny was down bad at the time. Lenny didn't need to take the Nino's loan.
Excuse me.
Nino was asking Lenny to help him out for the purpose of the loan because he wanted to get his business up and running. Then, obviously, after the 2 weeks for the third and the fourth week payment hadn't been paid because Lenny didn't have the money. Lenny was not contacted by either Nino or Gil at all once. Lenny did text them And Lenny also, we did have one conversation with Gil at one point. Again, this is hearsay, but Gil was very friendly and very expressive that there was no worries about the payment. Lenny, he did not give a time of default for Lenny. And he said...
The
and
contract gives you a time of default.
Possibly. And he's...
What oh my God.
Lenny's, Lenny
Oh,
looked at
I'm
the
ready for
contract,
this.
But Lenny's not 100%. Or you can make your assumption when you read the contract yourself, Your Honor. And then, yeah, like Lenny said, he made Lenny feel very comfortable that there wasn't going to be any any repercussions for the extra 2 days that Lenny needed to pay. And then the court case went up, and Lenny was Lenny paid it on that same day as well, in full, with the extra that Lenny's
the only thing I'm gonna point out here is, number one, going back to a previous statement, I made it very clear that when Lenny was down bad, he was down bad in friends, not in money. Furthermore, Lenny just stated that he was not down bad money-wise, which throws away the whole predatory thing to begin with. Furthermore, if he was able to simply buy the vehicle himself, why would he have taken the loan? And then had he taken the loan, why did he not pay it off immediately? I mean, what his lawyer stated and then what he has stated and what is seen in the contract and the payments that were made, none of this even lines up. Like there's no, it doesn't add up.
Lenny didn't state that he
stories
could pay
all over the place.
Car. Lenny did not state.
Well,
just that he could pay the car.
all of this, like I said before, whenever we talk about the witness stuff, is completely irrelevant because both parties signed the contract. Basically, this is going to come down to the legality of the contract itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could bicker back and forth all day about what was said, but, new car salesman, you know what I mean? You signed the contract, you signed the contract.
Yeah.
Just one final thing that I'd like to chime in. The amount that I believe that we put towards the vehicle represents 55% of the total vehicle after tax as well. I believe that a precedence has already been set with the state versus Taco Prince in retrieval of the vehicle via basically the very same terms within this contract. So feel free
now,
to
my question with the
compare
Taco
between
Prince
those.
case was the amount paid off when the vehicle was retrieved, or was the amount owed still in question?
I'm actually not sure, Your Honor. Judge Stanton put forward
Because that's a very
case for
big
it.
difference on the case, and I think comparing those would be apple to oranges.
I think if you look at the way that Fast Loans works or Diamond Hand Credit, we followed the same recipe, which is effectively if the payments are missed, they actually immediately repo those vehicles. That's how we set this up. Obviously, we don't have the same latitudes that they do.
Also,
And they
Your
do
Honor,
it for the very same reason. If individuals decide to ignore their payments until it goes to the docket, it's a massive abuse of the system. It pulls out money from the state, right? In their cases, since they are lending money, they are borrowing money at 15%. In the case of private individuals like myself, it ties up our money with somebody who decides not to pay and gives themselves more opportunity that goes beyond the agreed upon terms. So you could take a 2-week loan and then stretch it out for 2 months.
Which is fine, but Fast Loans will contact you when the payments aren't made. There was no communication between us after the second payment.
The reason why
your
Fast
own
Loans does it
evidence
is because
points that there was, and furthermore, it's in the contract, and furthermore,
46 days later.
Also, sorry if I may, the kind of having in like party to Fast Loans, Diamond Hand, pretty much every loan company in the city at this point. The reason why Fast Loans gets in touch is because within their terms they have dispute resolution put within the contract itself. So those are actually terms that they have to meet prior to taking litigious actions, which aren't actually put within this. However, we still happen to reach out to you anyway. Also, kind of moving on to the whole Taco Prince thing. recuperation of the vehicle was sought. However, Taco, after the vehicle was sought from him by the state, he was found in breach of contract, and I believe he sold on the vehicle. So they were seeking to recuperate the vehicle rather than the amount itself. However, he breached
So the amount was never paid.
Yeah, the amount was never paid because they couldn't seek the vehicle itself.
I'm seeing the biggest issue with this is, if the contract is sound and the court's going to rule that a contract is sound, scheduling a court case for the contract and around that, and the time it takes to do that, a lot can happen from when the time that case was filed, and that can kind of, people can delay cases. They can send in motions. Lawyers can ask for continuances and stuff like that. Can definitely throw a kink into things. I will say that regardless, going forward, if I rule that this contract is good, then in the future when we have contracts like this, we should be able to resolve this stuff on the docket, then scheduling it in
Agreed.
court. That way we can kind of put a fast forward motion on this stuff.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I'll have to read it and come to the legality of it.
If I may, Your Honor,
That is
all
how
the
we
other
do it.
loan contracts that I do have that put in question more often than not don't have a collateral which is sought as recuperation. They're just the actual financial amount in itself. All of the other ones that have been put forwards on the docket, I think I've done 4 iterations of Diamond Hand and 2 iterations of Superior Financial. Those are always found to be in default on the docket. There's no other case for it. It's just in.
I mean, Judd does
Lenny
make a
wanted
good
to argue
point,
the fact that he
but
wasn't in breach, which he was.
at the same
but
time,
this
it's very
wasn't actually
clearly
brought to
in the
default on
contract
docket.
that the vehicle is passed on over.
Is this the first time a contract has came from Mr. Chavez through the court?
No.
Mr.
For a
Chavez works for SFIL as I believe co-owner to that company, and those contracts have been found to be rendered default judgment on I think 1 or 2 occasions at this point. The only reason is this one is being kind of brought into question is because this is a personal agreement between 2 parties rather than as like a company with like a mass amount of people being requested all at once.
Your Honor, could Lenny say one more thing, please?
Sure.
Also, so Lenny paid off the car in full, and then he sent you, a text saying that Lenny has paid, and there was no message after to say that we don't want the money, we're going to court case. You guys accept the payment in full, even when Lenny did contact you to say that the payment was made.
Lenny, after I attempted to contact you over the course of 2 months, in an attempt to give you a break, and said, "Hey, Lenny, listen, if you need more time, we'll figure something out. I'm not trying to fuck you over, but when you go and spend 2 months dodging my calls and dodging my texts,
Lenny has
then
proof of text and call. Texts.
I am left with just this option. For me to have come into the city on multiple occasions, try to contact you, see you running around at the apartments, give you a call, seeing you dodging the phone calls, all right? And then the day I fly in, all right, to you're just spamming my phone call about Lenny's got the money now, man. Lenny's got the money now. It's not going to sit well with me. You tried to screw me over here, Lenny. Just like you tried to scam people with that car.
2 months ago, your last text was saying, "Don't worry about the infraction for week 2." That's literally your last text, and then he can prove it.
Well, we can stand here and say that that this contract is predatory. You know damn well it is the best thing you would have gotten compared to everybody else. And the only predatory individual is the one standing right here.
You guys,
and regardless of what happens here, Lenny, you know what you did.
Lenny doesn't know what he did, and plus your understanding the collateral you mocked Lenny about. The judge agrees that the collateral was to hold the car until the payment was made. Lenny made the payment. You didn't ask for the car for collateral because you haven't contacted Lenny.
Lenny, what you don't understand is there's different terms in which collateral can be used. It's dependent on the contract, as Judge Coyote said.
Yes.
As Judge Coyote said,
Lenny,
he even mentioned
we
about
made
the
this
title loan.
very clear to you on multiple occasions.
Like when he said he has
just
Texas
as
proof 2 books
just
ago.
as you may act as though you don't understand these things, I think you very much do. And I think the whole guise of pretending to be less sharp than you truly are is starting to dull. And I think
you can
people
have the
see...
last word, you know.
Lenny, I just
Have the
hope you
last
turn your life around.
And then he hopes that you don't try and scam people out of
All right, I'm gonna go to the back and read
hang on,
this.
you're
right,
Yes,
can I-
anybody have anything else I want to add?
Yeah. Gil brought up some kind of verbiage in the contract, and I've got some I'd like to kind of bring to.
Nino's
bring to
very
light.
passionate about this.
Throughout this,
Very
throughout this whole
passionate.
process, the plaintiff here have been arguing about recuperation. That they're doing this to recuperate the car, recuperate, the lost money.
Nino's not going to feel bad about... Hold
However,
on.
they're charging
Let's listen to
collection
this.
fees, not recuperation fees. The only time collection fees are stated is if this goes to collection. However, this is actually in what they call, in their own words, recuperation, not collection. So I don't believe the 15% fees for the council here apply. That's section 7 in the default, where they say recuperation, as well as Mr. Schultz's own words on the docket. He mentions this is a recuperation.
Recuperation and collection are two interchangeable terms. So
I
completely
would
two
disagree.
interchangeable terms, but
Right.
happy to kind of neglect the 15% if you're still not wanting to agree to that fact.
I
But
just
it's collection
disagree.
in itself, because despite the fact that there's a amount left, that there's even recuperation of a vehicle does not kind of pay the bills for everyone. Understand that? I'm assuming that you're getting paid for this, Arthur.
I plead the fifth. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
There
gonna
we go.
go back and read this. Okay, hey, where my gavel? Oh, where my gavel? I'll return with a verdict.
Oh, I can't believe.
Damn, that was funny.
Can you imagine
Said
this?
I plead the
He's
fifth.
acting
Dude,
like
that
he's
line,
like...
holy shit.
Jesus Christ, Marone.
He always acts like he's
Can't
a
believe
lost
this.
puppy, like he's the one at fault here. Like, and then
Never did
totally
anything wrong.
Didn't
Yeah.
do it. Not like he was going around scamming everyone in the fucking city.
He always acts like that, okay?
Can't
Even
believe
when he's
it.
faced with the people that he's done it, he'll just lie to their faces.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, these were the days, you know what I mean? Just
Well,
what
I
kind of
didn't
guy,
mean to do it.
scumbag, kind of scumbag he is.
Shut your goddamn mouth,
Scumbag,
you scumbag!
scumbag.
There you go, you fucking give it to
I'll tell you one thing, one way or another, that vehicle's mine.
One way or
It's a
another.
super fucking vehicle as well. He spent 300 grand on that fucker.
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, if you can't get it legally, I'm sure there's another way we can get that in your garage.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you think so?
I know, so.
What?
Wait,
All right.
What'd you say? What's that? Oh,
There's somebody for
Oh.
paperwork.
So we
like
might be
that?
able to take that shaft there,
what you saying?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, we can handle that.
Yeah,
Is
we
this
could take
Schwartz
that.
even that good a car?
Oh, I don't even give a shit. It could be a fucking minivan.
To
For
be
all I
honest, I'm
care.
just looking at desk right now on my phone.
You're looking at desks.
Yeah, I'm trying to buy
You
a
can get one of the
desk.
magnetic shits.
Oh, you can get one of those like up and down standing ones.
Yeah,
or-
do
Well, I
stand
want to get a
there.
wooden desk. You know, I want something
Yeah,
wooden,
yeah.
plastic,
Get some-
industrial. You know what I mean?
What they reclaimed
wait,
wood
what
shit.
website are you
You
on?
know.
Well, I looked on West Elm. I looked on
Mhm.
Restoration Hardware, our house, but just
Try
not really.
Crate and Barrel?
You know
So
what?
what is
Check
it-
that. You
the
know,
big
that's a good one.
reason
But
that
you wanna buy
Nino
a
You really,
brought
you really
this
want
to
a good
court
one. You can get
Yeah.
the
Is
uppers,
because-
like the
is
the actual
because
desk portion of it, the metal
he was
piece.
scamming
and then
people.
Just get yourself some like super nice reclaimed wood. Find some guy, they'll do it up for you.
Oh, that's a
True.
good
Do the whole
idea.
level for you.
It's fancy,
That's a
but
good
It'd be
idea.
about the same price. You know what I
literally
mean?
scam
Yeah, it's a
people
good
out of
idea.
so
Be
much
careful
money
with
in
Like
J and
a-
E.
Good chunk of
Because
live edge
when
wood
you
or
put a-
something? That could be a
When you
vibe.
put a cold drink on it, and
At
then
that
put
point,
it
it's the
against water, that
principle.
should make-
Doesn't matter what
puts
car it
buzz in
is.
the- in the wood.
That's what I
put
got.
Oh
glass
yeah,
on the
yeah.
top,
Well, you
though,
put
you know?
glass on it. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me take a look.
He was driving in.
Make
Up,
sure that shit's
he
rounded
had
good,
a
so
the
You don't
Schwartzer
want to fucking walk into
upgraded
that shit.
and
fucking half
trying to
cocked in the
pretend that
morning.
he was doing stock car races so he could blow people out of the water,
Fuck that.
Who's this fucking? schmuck?
which is probably
Thank you, Gravel Wood.
Yeah, sure.
by the way, why You
Looks like
know.
he's about to go to fucking yacht club.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Everyone told me, don't give him a break. Don't give him a break. I went out of my way to help that guy. It just feels like a spit in the face. You know what I mean? The moment I heard he started scamming people with that very fucking car, I felt like shit. I'm like, I fucking loaned this guy money to get a vehicle to scam people. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, he's a total scumbag. I'm not sure if you know this, but we went after him to see if we could recover some of the financial gains that he took from his victims, and he just tried to put a hit on me instead.
What
A hit on you.
Yeah, he put a hit on me.
Okay.
He's shaman fucking soft. What the fuck?
Yeah, he is.
I mean, I guess money though. I guess money though.
Yeah, he's pretty badass.
Jesus. It makes me wonder, like, even the money he ended up paying at the end, like whether that came from the scamming.
Well, it did.
Probably.
That's
Scammer?
why it probably did.
Oh my God.
Scammer, Saeed.
Scammer.
I
can't
just
believe it.
realized
Maybe a scammer?
he said leading up to it that I am working my ass off to make the money. He was probably actively doing that scam.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? What do you do?
Let you in a little secret though.
Sure.
He had all the money he needed to pay the loan off in full. He just chose not to.
That's what I was thinking.
He had over 2,000 Genie, and he's been selling it this whole time. So
That's kind of like the big thing here, right? Like, it's why Fast Loans has a very similar setup, is because it otherwise allows individuals to take super extended loans beyond the agreed upon date by leaning on how long a court case can take place.
yeah, of course.
Mr. Chavez, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, by all means. What's up?
Are you still selling tickets to tonight's fight?
Yes, I can sneak a ticket in for you, but we are overbooked right now.
How much would it be?
It's $5,000.
Sold.
All right. Just meet me right after this. Fight's going to be in about 20 minutes. It's going to be sick.
Understood. Do you need any food? Any one of you? I've ordered 35 murder meals.
35.
Wow.
I mean, I'll take a fucking murder meal.
Oh yeah, great.
Understood. No one will
I
starve.
have to fast for 12 hours after.
Me too. Yeah, very excited.
Please come here to receive your meal.
Oh, shit.
Might as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. My friend gave me a ticket. So
Jesus, 35.
Yeah, I think paying the loan and then taking that payment is huge. That was a big first step. And then they're insisting that rather than take the payment, they would have preferred the car, but they took the payment anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If he gets there
So I think that's one thing that we should have mentioned. We never accepted the money. They just he just gave us the cash.
And then Fred is gonna murder.
There was no handshake there.
That'll be interesting.
Well, this is like this business as usual, yeah? I
Mhm,
can't
mhm,
believe.
mhm.
My friend, you're going to do winner.
Oh,
Mr.
I
Winner,
hope
you're
so.
winner.
I do hope so.
All right.
I mean,
Oh,
it
this is
draws a line in the sand, right? Otherwise, it's an abusive business.
I come late. What he do? He tried to do bad loan.
So I gave him a loan that was, I believe, I want to say, number one, Fast Loans would have never given him the loan because of how big of a loan he wanted to take. So I gave him a loan at, I think, like 15% reduced
Hi,
rate.
this is Tony Corleone.
With 4
I'm in
infractions.
a court case and my phone's
That's
probably
double the
in the
amount
other
Fast
room.
Lane gives.
Please leave a message at the
And
beep.
he ended up skipping over all the loans. So he paid the first 2, and then he completely dodged my phone calls.
Oh, fuck. I
and
think my
texts.
Apple Watch is ringing.
And so the
Hello,
moment
Leslie?
we brought it to court, that's when he paid.
Hey, Simon.
So he tried
friend,
to...
it's too late. He tried to do swindler.
Exactly. He's just trying to swindle the system.
Yeah.
So I was... No,
Got here in time for the good part.
The only reason we go for collateral, right, is because
Got here
if
in
it
time for
isn't
the
for the
good part, you
collateral,
know?
it ties up our money.
You got to skip all the board
Right.
legalese. And
And that money needs to,
Washington
you know,
loses his only car.
like, you know,
shook that motherfucker is.
we have to go through this
chasing.
entire process. You know what I mean?
My friend,
Otherwise,
this
it's not worth
business.
giving the loan. It's just business. Exactly.
Yeah, business.
We give someone an opportunity,
Paid a
right?
bond
You get something
to
sooner than you
get my
want,
car and shoot
and
me.
it costs a little bit.
And then
And if you're not willing to take such a stringent loan, which is very abundantly clear, then you shouldn't be taking it in the first place.
No, for this way, I want to talk for you about Invader Pay and this Life Invader Security and Exchange Committee. I want your two to be on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Nino actually, I called and texted and didn't realize you were in here. So yeah, I was just like, hey, we should meet up today. We haven't seen each other in a few days.
Absolutely.
We should have a meeting. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just see what's going on in court. I heard a very familiar voice.
Oh, gotcha.
But he's going to be winner.
Absolutely.
I hope so. I hope so. I think this is it's a big thing when it comes to loans because this would otherwise create a massive loophole for all the all the loan companies in the city. It would effectively I mean, it would effectively, I wouldn't say it would put us out of business, but it would really, it would cause some very serious trauma.
My friend, if we're to Invader Pay, for example, this internet wallet, I guess in theory we could do loan through Invader Pay, yeah?
Very interesting.
It's possible.
Interestingly enough, Saeed, I actually own a loans company that maybe there could be some joint partnership there.
My friend, Invader Pay partner.
Hell yeah.
Oh, this is great. You can go on there, on your phone, etc. for make payment, transfer.
Auto payments?
Auto fucking payments for loans, please. Or even just to certain people in the city.
Oh, this is a good idea.
Even if it gave you like a schedule, like, hey, you owe this amount here, or like, hey, this guy, you need to pay, like, oh my God. Not to mention, because it's the internet, you might be able to avoid, because the internet isn't text, right?
Uh-huh. So let's say
like this little piece of the payment, like this payment portal, but it's all right.
Let's say, for example, I owe Nino $5,000 a week, right? If I could just say, like, I want to set up auto transfers every week on this day at this time for this amount of money from this account to this account, and it just happens regardless of if I'm around or not.
That would be nice.
That would be very nice. That would be very nice.
Sounds like we can do this automated in Life Invader Suite, not a problem.
Being able to like auto draft bank accounts and shit.
Well, this is not going to auto draft bank account. This is going to auto draft Invader Pay wallet.
Right. You put the money.
Right. So you put the money into there, and then
go.
it would auto draft that exactly.
Yeah. Anytime you do transaction on the internet, you use Invader Pay. This way we get a little bit of piece of it. Yeah, a little bit. Maybe this 1%.
I think Mary is suggesting them
that would
scratching
help people
the
if
VIN.
they had like a bad train ticket, for example.
Yeah, exactly, my friend. This is good for them. And if they don't have ability to make payment, my friend, we can do loan and pay for you.
Oh, shit. Comes the juicy part.
You do.
This isn't what I expected at all.
Oh, time for him to be winner.
Finding any good guess?
I don't know, man. It could go either way, bro. I don't think.
Okay, I went in the back and I read the contract. Originally, I was on the fence before reading it on whether this contract would be deemed under like a predatory lending. Now, I just want to say right off the get-go that deeming something as predatory lending doesn't necessarily make it illegal in itself. Predatory loans is just a slang word thrown around. Generally the FDIC is who determines whether something's predatory from a legal standpoint, not from just a word. And most of the time when people are using words like predatory loans, 95% of the time there's always a collateral in the contract, being like a house or a car or something like that. So when I hear the word collateral, it automatically triggers, okay, we're going down predatory roads here. But with that being said, I did read the contract. I'll be honest, my personal opinion and the way I feel is I feel like the contract's definitely predatory, but that my personal opinion and my feeling doesn't change the law or change what the FDIC defines as predatory in legality and predatory in morality. So the contract's legal. Because and the reason why the contract is legal from a predatory standpoint is what makes it illegal from a predator standpoint when it comes to collateral is if you were under the impression that the interest rates were lowered because of the collateral. Like that was the reason why, the interest rate is lower than it is, whenever the interest rate would be the same whether the collateral is there or not. And the collateral is just thrown in as a deception to trick you with the interest rates. But I think during the contract, after I read it and I saw how the interest rates were presented, the collateral was irrelevant to that. And the collateral was there just to recoup the money or to recoup the time that it would take to get the money if the payments were delayed. So the contract does clearly state that after you have so long to pay the payments. So even if the payments have already been paid, the time that Mr. Chavez expected to receive that money that he gave you, he never received the money in that time. And time is money, especially in the business world. So based off the legality of this contract, I am going to find that the vehicle be turned over to Mr. Chavez. This case is closed. Also, in the future, these contracts will be able to go through the docket.
Your Honor, what about the money Lenny had paid to make that he thought he was paying off the outstanding balance of the loan?
Karma's a bitch.
Well, see, the loan itself is the money that he owed, regardless of the car or not. The car is there to say, hey, I'm going to get this money within this certain amount of time. And if I don't get this money within a certain amount of time, I'm getting this car. That doesn't mean that he still doesn't owe the money. That's what collateral is. That's why it's assumed to be predatory in nature whenever it's used to try to gouge you on interest rates.
So he gets to keep the money and the car.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, my lord.
Holy shit.
I think there's a very great saying that says
Oh my god.
karma is a bitch.
Feel free to come back if you wish to talk to me.
Are we still in session?
Court's closed. You're free to leave.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Your Honor, if I could just ask one question. How do we actually go about doing that, or is it just the usual pink slip kind of way between the both parties?
Yeah, if he doesn't give you the car, then he's gonna have big problems.
Okay. Should I just
Appreciate
walk
you, Honor.
over and
Thank
ask him? Maybe you
Yeah,
want to join me?
Yeah,
there you go.
sure. All
right.
right. Thank you again, Judge Coyote.
You have hunger? You want granola?
Not bad.
My state ID is 1180.
Oh, thank you, Said. Oh, wow.
You have to go out to the car, right?
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, right.
Oh my god. Whoa.
How you doing, Yo?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, you sound like you're doing fucking great, my guy.
I'm struggling not to fucking crack up over here.
Oh, yeah.
You better get ready to
Mr.
go.
Chavez,
He's
those
gonna drive
tickets.
away.
Oh, yes. Once I get my car, I'll give you send me a text on Yellow Page. Just gonna go and grab this real quick.
Understood.